everyone. Warlocks, occultists, vampires, zombies, whatever you identify yourself as, welcome to I don't know what to call this, my podcast voice recording. I don't know. Anyways, today I'm going to be talking about vampire magic, something I've been actively practicing for about 6 months now. I wanted to go through some techniques with you guys. I want to talk about my experiences. And I'm going to go through the book called Vampire Magic by Father Sebastian. Wow, very, very insightful and very helpful for beginners, I'll tell you that. Obviously, I did work Akaru by Michael W. Ford. That was my first grimoire that I went through and really made some contact with the Vampyre Current, other known as Alaroth. Now, I jot some notes down, and I thought I would go through some things and some words, some different types and categories of vampirism and vampires. There's a lot more than just energy. Like, there's a lot more than just psychic vampires or blood vampires. There's actually a wide range of them. Now, this is very dark magic. I can't say if everybody can do this. I'm not the expert. What I can say is I can, and I'm coming out of the coffin, as Mr. Father Sebastian would say. But as you guys have watched a lot of my videos, there's a lot of music and symbols that I put in my music, and if you are smart enough to catch on, you'll understand that I do use vampire magic. Now, I am a. This is something. Where do I start? Where do I start? Okay. A lot of us, when we're young, well, not a lot of us. I mean, some people, the mundanes and regular normies, they don't look at vampire movies when you're young the way I did. When I used to watch vampire movies, it got me excited. There was something about that energy that excited me. I mean, when I was young, I used to have dreams of me being a vampire and visiting other people's homes and killing them and eating them and feeding off of them. I just thought it was a dream. Everybody had dreams like that. Well, no, not everybody did. I found out. But that's okay. So during my course of working with dark magic and learning all the systems, I'm now not only still working with the Necronomicon, but I'm also diving heavily now into my vampire magic. I have received gnosis, I've received techniques, I have received gifts from this current like no other. Okay, so what type of vampire I am is I am an astral vampire that feeds off the prana, off the living. Now, do I do this every night? No, I don't. I don't need to. Sometimes I can't. Sometimes I'm not skilled enough to do it every single night. However, this goes along with shapeshifting. Shapeshifting is hard to do. It's hard to learn because you have to have the fundamentals of understanding dreams and how to control your dreams and being aware of your dreams, which is called lucid dreaming. If you don't have that down packed, I really don't see how you're going to be able to go into the astral realms, consciously shapeshift into a beast or into a vampire and go and do what you do. I can tell you that a lot of spirits will help you with this, but you do have to learn how to practice while you're up, your shadow leaving your body. I did this for months, and now I can do this fluttery thing with my energetic body. I don't know how to explain it, but it's almost like I'm sitting, all of a sudden this dark shadow is inside of me, and it flutters back and forth, and then it comes out of my crown chakra and goes out. Then I fall asleep, and I'm sleeping. And then I will remember encountering vampires, spirits of the dead, going and feeding. It's very strange feeling. But when I wake up the next day, the energy and the amount of peacefulness I have. Hold on, I'm gonna sneeze. Excuse me. It's almost like I'm so content. Like I'm just like, I'm satisfied. Yeah, that's the word. I'm satisfied. I'm satisfied, and I am just happy. This lasts for maybe a couple weeks, and then I find myself not feeling good. Not very down, depressed. Not depressed. I hate to say that word, but very sad or something. I don't know what it is, but then I go and do what I do, and boom, I feel good again. So if you want to know how to practice this takes discipline, this takes imagination, and this takes your will. You must believe in this or it will not work. In the beginning, you might not get anywhere, but eventually you will. You don't give up. Like anything in life, if you give up, you've already failed. You failed. You should just wasted your whole time. Just don't give up. If you want to do something, do it. If one way doesn't work, then you figure out another way. Now let's just go through some different categories of different types of vampires. Once again, this is a reference from the Vampire Magic book from Father Sebastian.
The Sanguine Nomicon, and there's the second edition to that. I believe here they are. You can find them on Amazon.
Now, I'm just going to go quickly through the different species of vampires, I guess you could say. There's a couple of them. So, you got your... hold on. Let me just do it so I don't mess up. I went too far. Hold on. Sorry, guys. Okay. Now, you got Christian vampires, okay? Because if you think about it, Christians eat the blood and eat the flesh of Christ. Basically, they're invoking and eating Christ's energy. They're feeding off of the energy. You see it in Pentecostal churches. You see it in these spiritual churches that they get high off of Christ's energy. They feed off of his energy. They need it, and when they don't get it, they feel like shit. I've seen it through my own experiences being brought up as one. There is Discordianism. This one is really awesome. Well, strange, but it's makes sense. Now, Discordianism is a paradigm and a religion created in the late 1950s by Greg Hill. Now, one of the traits... Hold on. I wrote it down because it was funny. Okay, so basically, the Discordian vampire is a vampire that has to do things kind of outrageously. Like, they're more outrageous vampires. They, like, they will... Sorry. They will, like, for one of their initiations, instead of... They're, like, forbidden to eat a hot dog buns. So... but what they'll do is they are forbidden to eat a hot dog bun, but they're encouraged to eat the whole bag of buns. So they go to extreme, but kind of like in your face type of things. They're really out there type of vampires, they'll go for activities. They'll go into a bowling alley dressed as clowns. Running around the lanes, knocking the pins down. It's very chaotic. They're very chaotic vampires, but they keep in the principles of the Black Veil, which is a principality, not principality, it's a Principia Discordia. It basically is, I guess, guidelines, it's just guidelines. There is draconian vampirism, which, you know, a lot of us understand what that is from the dragon and deal with a lot of basically Tiamat. And because your dragon in the flame is that dark flame within you. And the fire of the dragon is a term aligned with the draconian current to destroy all obstacles within their path which would deny them of their own deification of self. Vlad, Dracul, and the Order of the Dragon often act as the most obvious example of the draconian path. You get it? Nobility, where needed, considered. They have standards too. Well, we all have standards. We have to act a certain way. I'm kind of like a little bit of everything. But now you have Kemetism, which is ancient Egypt, the Black Land. That's what Kemet means. This approach is basically more of, they study more of the Egyptian ways of vampirism, basically. And they draw upon the goddess form Aset, which is an older Kemet term for Isis, which means the throne. And they draw from magic, which is Heka, Egyptian magicians, but Heka is another word for magic. And there you got Set in there. It's all basically Egyptian magic. Then you got Lovecraftian with the vampires who work with Lovecraftian entities, Cthulhu. Now this one I'm very, very heavily connected to is Calistri. Now the Calistri is using the three dark goddesses, the dragon goddess within you, the dark mother, maiden, and crone, the queen of the spirits of vampire, witch current. And it's funny because I work with, my three is Lilith, Hecate, and Inanna. But this one is Lilith, Hecate to Kali. But it can vary because Inanna is also transformed and interchangeable. They're all interchangeable, Ishtar. But this is a very powerful current. The vampire witch, the feminine vampire, seduces, gets what she wants. She uses her sexuality, is not ashamed of it. She's very, very out there, outgoing. And then you got Luciferianism vampire, which we all know I'm a Luciferian too. But the Luciferian is very about just vamping knowledge. I see knowledge as also a very downfall in a lot of magicians' practice, because when you just only yearn for knowledge, you're not doing anything. What's the point of knowing everything? It's just, you're never satisfied. It's like this hunger that's never going to be satisfied. But that's what Luciferian knowledge is you're always hungry for knowledge, and you vamp knowledge, and you want gnosis. Yeah, and then you got Thelema, vampires, Satanist, vampires, voodoo, all that. It's like, there's vampires in every practice, guys, every practice. There's the Vampyre Current called Alorath, which is a vampire egregore. Basically, it's all the vampire family, the head consciousness of vampires. Now, what you would want to do if you want to reach out to this current is basically say you call out to the ancestors of Alorath. You call out to the ancestors of the Freighters and the Sorrows. You call out to your ancestors, because basically when you're doing that, even though you might not be born of a vampire, if you're interested and there's a drawing to that calling, that bloodline, you will be of that bloodline once you become initiated into the current. you have to be willing to go through initiations in your astral, and you'll be meeting a lot of vampire spirits. I've once kissed me, and it tasted like black smoke, like exhaust poison thing. They are all shapes and sizes, but you will learn how to shapeshift. You will learn how to feed. If you start to do the meditations and the rituals in Akaru by Michael W. Ford and by Father Sebastian, and you stick with it, you will get it, but you have to be determined, and you have to speak it. And I always do this before I go to bed. Very, very important. If this does not resonate with you, then it's okay. Leave it. Move to something else. And when I say, I'm kind of contradicting myself from before, but I mean, like, if you're absolutely getting nothing, if you're getting no contact whatsoever, it just means it's not for you at this moment. Doesn't mean, or it's an initiation and it's a test. It's something that you just know you are okay with this. There's your own morality will be tested. Okay, I think about years ago how my morality was tested in the astral realms. I've been through a lot of initiations into the realms, and now I'm finally getting where I want. And it's funny because sometimes I have to stop myself, but I'm so used to practicing vamping people's energy who are just like beside me. And I don't mean psychological, psychic negative energy. I mean, I can have my tendril come out and just feed from them a little bit, or just, I don't even use tendrils anymore. It's just when I inhale their energy and it comes into me. But that's a conscious act that you have to learn how to do every single day. You go to the gym, you imagine a tendril coming out of your crown chakra, attaching to somebody else's, and you feed off of them. You have to be careful. You don't want to drain them, but this is all stuff that's written down in these books, techniques and ways to do it. And then learning how to detach your tendril, because you don't want to be attached to them, and you don't want to feed off just anybody either. I mean, you feed off an addict, you feed off, and I've done that before, and I'm like, why do I feel fucking high? Oh shit, yeah, that person was an addict, you know. There is the what else? You know, this is just another path that I'm taking, and I'm good at it. I'm good at being what I am, and I love it. I love it. I love the power that I get from it. You know, I love the strength, the courage. I get everything I want when I practice this, and it's like it's something that just becomes you. It just becomes you. Okay, I'm gonna keep it to 20 minutes, but I hope this helped everybody. Start if you're leaning towards this. Start doing research. Do the rituals, and believe it. Believe it. If you don't believe it, then it's not gonna work. That's all I have to say. Thank you, everyone, for listening to me. Have a good night, and see you in my dreams.